In this video, we want to work with some piecewise defined functions. Now they're called piecewise because this function here, f of x, has three pieces, 1, 2, 3, for different values of x. So this only holds when x is less than or equal to -1, this one only holds between -1 and 0, and this one is when we're greater than 0. When you're thinking about graphing this, and that's the first thing we're going to do, you want to pay attention to our x values. So notice our x values that break up what's going on into three different pieces. So in particular, what's happening is, let's put -1 here, let's put 0 here. I'm going to have three different pieces. I'm going to have one piece over here to the left of -1, one piece between 0 and -1, and another piece to the right of 0. Let's take the middle piece first because I think it's the easiest to graph. This is saying between -1 and 0, my height is given by 3. So all I want to do is I want to draw a line here with height 3, actually a line segment. Now let's be careful about a couple of things. Notice that this piece, at 0, its x is less than or equal to 0. So I'm actually going to have a closed dot there. But this function doesn't actually apply when x is equal to -1 because I've got a greater than sign. So we're going to draw an open circle here. And we're going to say, there's our piece of the function of height 3. Alright, we've taken care of that. Let's take care of this piece, x squared. You may remember that x squared is a parabola, and we want to draw the portion of that parabola from 0 onward. So what I want to do is I want to draw basically a parabola that looks like this. And the one thing I want to say is, alright, this is for x greater than 0, so I need an open dot here. Notice how if I'm applying the vertical line test, there's only one point I'm going through, this point up here. So I still pass the vertical line test. Alright, we took care of that piece. Finally, I have to graph this line, -x plus 2. Alright, let's see. When I plug in -1 into that, what do I get? Well, -1 plugged in for -x plus 2 gives me a positive 3. I'm going to fill in that gap right there. Let's see what happens at -2. At -2, -2 plus 2 is 4. Oops, I need a slightly higher point up here. I need a line. I need a point up here. And oops, I don't want to go down that far. I want a line that looks something like this and then goes off. Okay, so that takes care of the last piece. So notice that I had 1, 2, 3 pieces. So just if it helps you clarify what's going on here, we've got piece 1, piece 1, piece 2, piece 2, piece 3, piece 3. Those are our three pieces. Alright, now that we've done that, let's go the opposite direction. So here's a function, let's call it g of x. And we want to figure out the formula for this function. So I look at this and I go, alright, g of x. How many pieces does it have? Well, it just has 2 pieces. Alright, what is true of the first piece? Well, the first piece only applies up until I reach 1, and there's an open dot there. So this first piece is only going to apply when x is less than 1. And my second piece is going to apply when x is greater than or equal to 1. Notice that I've got that solid dot there, so that's going to be greater than or equal to. And so now what I need to do is I need to find the formulas of each of these lines. Okay, so hopefully that's pretty straightforward. Let's focus on this line first. So I've got the points 1, 1, that almost passes through that line, and 0, 2. So if I find slope, that's going to be 2 minus 1 over 0 minus 1. That is equal to -1. And I can already see what my b is because it's 2. So that's going to be -x plus 2. Alright, now let's focus on the other line, and I've got the point 1, 3 and 2, 1. So my slope is 1 minus 3 over 2 minus 1. That's negative 2. And so y equals b minus 2x. Plug in the 0.13. 3 equals b minus 2 times 1. And you can see that b is going to be equal to 5. So that's the other piece. My slope is going to be negative 2. My b is 5, so that is 5 minus 2x. So what we just did here is we worked with piecewise functions in two different ways. We started with a formula and we created a graph. We started with a graph and we created a formula.